When one city closes, another one, wait a minute, this isn't my show. When one city closes, another one opens. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review episode 1 in the premiere of the Real Housewives Who Post Things on Instagram for Attention of Potomac. We start the season off with Giselle and Karen walking around the park. The cherry blossom trees are blooming. Giselle is telling Karen, I can't believe that it took this for you to finally love me. Karen is like, no, I never said that I didn't love you. I just said that if you come for me, I'm gonna eat your ass up. Giselle, she tells her, well, my ass is pretty tasty. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is how we're starting off the season, you kinky little girl. Giselle, you be having your ass ate? And they start setting up for this picnic that they're about to have. And it was so nice to see Giselle and Karen finally getting along, at least for now until like probably episode 2. It was so cute, you know, they could throw shade back and forth with each other, but I feel like at the end of the day, they both truly love each other, no matter what goes on between them. I also love the atmosphere, like with all the cherry blossom trees, everybody walking around, it was just such a nice vibe. So they're sitting down and then Karen is like, well, I haven't been in contact with anybody at all, like have you? Giselle is like, no, I mean, I've been keeping up with Ashley on TikTok, and it's so cute to see Ashley on TikTok doing all those dances, all smiling like she's a robot. She's like, I'm like, we get it, Ashley. We get it. You know how to dance. You have rhythm. Relax. But then Karen is like, well, I mean, have you spoken to her? Have you talked to her on the phone? And Giselle is like, well, I mean, I did talk to her about a month ago, and she actually did tell me something. And I'm like, well, here we go. Giselle already putting on her producer hat. She's like, I did talk to her, and she's actually telling me that she's actually going to go through a divorce with Michael. Karen, she's like, what? Are you serious? As if Giselle didn't tell her this like 5 minutes in the parking lot. So then Giselle is like, well, I mean, I don't know why you're shocked about this. This is Michael Darby. And yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked either. The second that Ashley would have called me and she would have been like, Giselle or Raphael, guess what? I'm divorced. It's Michael. That's the reason. You don't even have to finish your sentence. I already know it's him. And then from a distance, we see somebody making their way over. And I'm looking at them like, wait a minute, who is that? Who is that? Is that a new cast member? Who is that? And it's none other than the queen of hats herself, Robin Dixon. And I'm like, aw, Robin, aw, you're still on the show. Why? Aw. No, I'm kidding. It was so nice to see Robin. And it was honestly nice to see everybody on this cast. I did miss this cast. Even Robin. Even if people want to say she's boring, she's this, she gives no storyline. I miss Robin too to a certain extent. I'm like, look at her. And she looks so good in that red hair. That color is so her. I love the color. So Robin, kudos to you for choosing that color. This is so good on you. So she comes out. She's hugging Giselle and Karen as if she didn't just meet with them 10 minutes ago in the parking lot. She sits down with them and then they're talking about Ashley. They're like, you know, Ashley's about to get here. All of a sudden, Ashley pops up and Ashley looks good. You know, Ashley looks so good. Right now, this is what I like to call the good girl gone bad era. For Ashley, you know, Ashley has always been a beautiful woman, but something about her this specific season, I don't know. It's just like this whole different glow to her. Maybe because she's chopping Michael away from her life, at least for now, but who knows? But she comes over, they're all reuniting, and it was nice to see the 4 original housewives from season 1 get together. I'm like, oh, this is cute. You know, it's very rare that we see that on the Housewives franchise in general, but again, this cast just works together, like every single one of them, regardless whether you like them or not. They're all just perfect for each other. So they're sitting now. They started talking about Karen and Ray. I believe Karen was like, oh yeah, you know, Ray is good and everything. And I keep him on his toes because I'm 17 years younger than him. Giselle, she was like 17. You sure you're not 14? And I'm like, Giselle, don't start now. Like, you know, you and Karen are good right now. Don't spark a flame or anything. Karen was like, no, it's 17, Giselle. It's not 14. I'm not a liar like Mia. Now, why did she even mention Mia? Because Giselle, all she saw was like a spark in her eye. She was like, oh, Mia. Well, now that you mentioned Mia, let's talk about her in her Instagram post. I'm like, Giselle, give it a minute. You know, it's only been 5 minutes into the episode and she wants to get through everybody's storyline. I'm like, you know what? Okay, fine. You know, I'm assuming that they gave her a raise this season for producer credits. So she goes on to say, yeah, Mia, you know, what's been going on with her and her Instagram post? She posted the other day that she has cancer, but then 2 days later, she posted that she doesn't have cancer. So it's just like, which one is it? Are you lying? What's going on about this? Everybody's just like, yeah, this is very suspicious, especially with Mia's track record on the show. You know, it's not really the best because Mia, you know, even though this is her second season, she already has a long list and a long history list of being a liar and forgetting her words and her lies, similar to Sheree. And again, Charisse has a track record of what? 25 seasons? Mia, this is only her second season and she already has a bad rep. So they're like, yeah, we don't know what's going on with that. And, at the same time, I don't want to discredit Mia and say that she's lying about this, even with her shady past last season, because it's just like, it's cancer. Why would she lie about that? First of all, I don't agree with her posting this on Instagram for what? I don't want to say that she's doing it for attention, but it's just like, it's kind of giving me the same vibe as when people post the little bracelet from hospitals and they put it on their Instagram story so people could be like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? What's happening? Are you okay? What's going on? Then next thing you know, you're like, excuse me, thank you for everybody's messages and everything, but I want my privacy. It's like, you can't post that and then expect privacy. So it's just like, Mia, what are you doing? But then again, it's 2022 and everybody posts everything on social media now. So Mia, this doesn't come to a surprise from me. So Robin, she goes on to say that she actually reached out to Mia. She said that she's hoping that she's doing well, but then she saw the post that she doesn't have cancer. So again, they're all confused. They don't know what's going on. Giselle, I feel like Giselle is taking this way too personally. I'm like, do you even know her like that for you to be upset about it? I mean, yeah, it's very concerning, but I'm not sure. Giselle, it's just like, I'm not sure why she will post something like that on social media. Karen said, and I quote, I believe she was like, yeah, I mean, it is pretty strange, but I mean, maybe we have to hear her out. Maybe we need to hear her side of the story because Giselle is accusing her of wanting attention. But later on in the episode, Giselle twists her words and she's trying to take her down with her. When Karen never said any of that. So I believe the next conversation, they start talking about Michael, Darby, and Ashley, and they're divorced. They're divorced, right? Ashley's like, I mean, yeah, we're separating because it's been we don't drink alcohol anymore. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what kind of reason is that? But she elaborates and she's like, yeah, we were in Miami once. Michael, he wanted to have a threesome with this other girl, but it just didn't happen. So Giselle being the producer, she was like, wait a minute. So you didn't want this girl to eat your box? Is that why you're divorcing? Giselle gets straight to the point, and Ashley's like, well, no, that's not the reason. And I'm like, so then what's the point of the story then? Then why are you explaining that? You see, Ashley, I don't know, but I don't know. Y'all smell that? It smells like lies to me. Because I don't know, part of me feels like by the end of this season or by the reunion, Ashley is gonna throw away those divorce papers out the window and she's gonna be like, oh no, me and Michael, we're stronger than ever. We're working on our relationship for our kids. That's the vibe that I get. I don't know. I could be wrong. Hopefully she does divorce him, but I'm not sure. But she goes on to say, it's been a while that me and Michael, we haven't really been sexually, connected together. We haven't really been sexually healing each other. And I'm like, I wouldn't either. And not because of time. It's just Michael. It's just like, don't touch me. But she goes on to say that, yeah, her and Michael haven't been really connecting recently. And that's that. And that's why they're trying to separate each other, not divorce. Because she goes on to say that in Virginia. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought they were in Maryland. I'm like, are we lying of where we're at? But she goes on to say that, yeah, in Virginia, you have to be separated for a year. But then I'm not sure. She never said to divorce. She only says separated. So that's why I feel like this whole thing is a stunt. So she goes on to say, yeah, but you know what? Even though me and him are separating and stuff, we're still going to try to find a house together under our LLC. So they're looking at her like, wait, what's happening? I'm confused. Giselle is just like, wait, you're going to live together with him? And Ashley's like, well, I mean, we're going to try to find a house together. And I'm like, what? So then Robin decides to put her two hats in and she's like, Ashley, I'm confused as to why you would want a house with this man that you're separating with. When me and Juan, the second that Robin would have said me and Juan, the conversation should have been over. Because Robin, you lose all credibility because technically, if you want to get technical, you and Ashley are basically in the same situation. You both are living with roommates. So who are you to judge her situation? You're in the same situation yourself. If I was you, I would have just close my mouth and continue eating my food. And then Karen, she was just like, well, okay, so, putting all that to the side, I was thinking, since it's the springtime and stuff, I was thinking that let's throw a spring party. And I'm like, a what? I'm telling you, the housewives would throw a party for anything. They'll be like, you know what? The sky is blue and it's about to rain. You know what? Let's have a raincoat party. Karen, just say that you need a reason for everybody to come together to film and call it a day. But she goes on to say that her party is going to be Spring Has Sprung Party. They're looking at her like, what? And then she starts singing and she's like, spring has sprung. And I'm like, yeah, we could get to the next scene. We then head over to a clinic where we see Candace and her husband, Chris. Candace, she has been thinking about the idea of getting pregnant in the near future because obviously she's not getting any younger and she doesn't want the possibility to go to waste. So she wants to save as many eggs as possible, but her career is now taking off. You know, her music career, her album Deep Space, it's about to be relaunched and she's been going on tour for SWV and Faith Evans. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Also, I didn't know that Faith Evans was touring, but that's neither here nor there. And you know, her album is good. Boy, you make me wanna come back, come back. Boy, you make me wanna come back. Candace, you need me on the remix. So her issue is having free time to dedicate to a pregnancy. Same thing with Chris. He's the new manager of a hotel and he has so many things going on over there. So neither one of them have enough time to dedicate to a pregnancy fully. So they're sitting down in front of a doctor. The doctor is telling Candace of all her options on how to save her eggs. She's telling her that she's gonna have to take these injections in her stomach. Everything is going well, everything is going good. You're thinking that, okay, maybe they have a couple of possibilities in the future and everything is gonna go well. Wrong, because next thing you know, Candace and Chris, they get into a fight in front of the doctor and the doctor is just sitting there like,
you're never gonna have time for a pregnancy. You're never gonna be home. You're always gonna be busy at your job.
Okay, but so are you. You're always gonna be in the booth writing all these flop songs that don't even chart.
Wow, so now my songs are flops. Wow, okay, at least I don't have a low budget job.
Call security, call security. Have them on standby. Yeah, this is getting ridiculous and I need to go on my lunch break.
You know what, Candace? I don't even care. Let's go.
Okay, so it was nice seeing everybody. Okay, so we're gonna meet up next week for those injections, okay? I'm like, Candace, Chris, what is wrong with both of you? This is your first scene for this season, and this is what you do? You get into a fight? Like, what is going on? So, you know, you're thinking, okay, maybe the fight kind of died down. Everything is going to go back to being calm and normal and everything. They're going to leave and everything's going to be good. Wrong. They take the fight into the car. They're on the highway. They're heading home. Chris is upset. Candace is upset. She's telling him, I can't picture having children with you. I can't picture our children running around the house without you there because your schedule is always inconsistent. You're always busy doing something at work and you're never going to be there. And I'm like, Candace, don't be too selfish now because the same thing could be applied to you. Chris could easily point a finger at you and say, Candace, I'm not sure if I want to get pregnant with you because you're always going to be wanting to be on tour, making albums, making songs, doing something with your music career. So are you really going to have enough time to be at home and be a mom? The next issue is, let's say that Chris was to free up his time or let's say cut back on his hours. Then the next issue is going to be, oh, he's not making enough money. Candace is making more money than Chris. He's only with her because of her money and her mom's money and et cetera, et cetera. Then the whole thing of last season and the season before that of everybody talking about Chris saying, oh, he's not making money. He's just there at home drinking alcohol. He's not doing anything. What's the point of him? Then that's going to be brought up next. So it's just like he can't win either way. So, I mean, I don't know what you want out of him. Chris is trying to explain to Candace, look, it's not my fault if I'm working an event at the hotel and there's 500 fucking people. And the second that Chris dropped that F-bomb, I knew it was over. I'm like, Chris, just pull the car to the side. Pull it over to the highway. Candace, all she saw was red because she was like, first of all, who the fuck are you cursing at? Mood. She goes on to say, well, I just feel like you're not taking this conversation serious and I'm not taking it serious either because you're not taking your schedule serious. He's like, well, I'm not taking it serious because you're not taking it serious. At the end of the day, neither one of them are taking this conversation serious and all they're doing is just yelling at each other. And like I said before, I am shocked that either one of them have stayed with each other for this long. I'm surprised that Chris hasn't divorced Candace by now because again, it's just like they're always arguing. When they're good, but when they're bad, it gets really ugly. And you know, I mean, I do wonder though, for Candace's music career, you know, there's jokes on the internet that people say, oh, you know, Mary J. Blige or Adele, they need to go through really, really bad breakups to make really good albums. Let's just say, and I'm not putting this out there because I do want both of them to stay together because I do think that they're cute. But let's just say that they were to go through a divorce, right? Can you imagine that album? Ooh, Candace, it's gonna be fire. All of a sudden, we hear these wedding bells in the background. They're like, dun, 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 dun. And then we pan over to Robin. And then it quickly dies down. I'm like, so shady. They knew what they were doing with that. So Robin, we see her going into this restaurant. She's there sitting down. She's waiting for somebody. And then next thing you know, the Grand Dame, psych. The one and only from season 1, Charisse, she makes her way into the restaurant. She sits down with Robin, and my first thought is, okay, why is she back? It's not like I don't mind her or anything. I'm just confused as to why she needed on this cast. Because the original cast that we already have now, they're already strong enough together without anybody having to come into the circle. So I'm confused as to what her presence is supposed to do now. But I guess over the years, maybe Charisse has seen the show and maybe she knows how to move forward with the show and the cast. And maybe she knows what to do and what not to do. Because at the beginning, if we all remember, Charisse wasn't really open about her marriage or her life. She was very, closed off. So maybe now she wants to show us a different side of her, and I'm open to it. And on top of that, people always want to say that she was the one that she's the reason why this group came to be in the first place on season 1. And yeah, clap for her, but okay. What are we supposed to do with that? But they sit down, Charisse right away, she wants to be open, and she's like, so Robin, I have a friends with benefits. I'm like, damn, Charisse, okay, whatever it takes for you to get a champagne flute for next season. Robin is like, oh, really? Oh, okay. So then Robin, she wants to talk about Juan. And I'm like, well, okay, here we go. So she wants to talk about this marriage with Juan, and Charisse was quick. She was like, so wait, are you still going to get married to Juan? Like, what's going on with that? Robin, she was like, huh? She was like, wait, can we cut filming? Can we cut filming? Charisse, don't ask me that question. You already know the answer is no. But now her new issue is that she wants to get a prenup with Juan. And I'm like, Robin, just say that you don't want to get married to this man and call it a day and keep it pushing. Like, you don't want to be with him, and that's okay. And even if you do want to just be friends with him and live with him, then just say that. You don't have to be romantically with him. You could love him from a distance, and that's completely okay. In her confessional, the producer was messy. The producer was just like, so do you still want to get married to Juan? Robin, she was just like, have you seen the latest episode of Beverly Hills Housewives? It's so good. Did you see the episode with Lisa Rinna? Out of control. Did you see the trailer for the reunion? So good. What was the question? I'm like, okay, whatever, Robin. So she goes on to tell Charisse that she wants a prenup with Juan because, she doesn't feel like in a marriage or in a relationship, not hers, just in general, you shouldn't get half of what the other person makes. And I've never thought about that. Then again, I've never been married, so I don't know. I leave with 0. But, I don't know how I feel about that. Charisse was quick to say, well, wait. So you mean to tell me that you don't think that I deserve half for my last marriage? Robin was just like, no, I don't. Charisse, I thought she was going to blow it out of proportion to try to get a storyline out of Robin and maybe, cause some fake beef. But she was like, wait, what do you mean? No, I feel like you also deserve half. Robin was just like, no, I'm the breadwinner in this whole family. And honestly, that took me off guard because, Juan is he a former or ex-basketball player? I just thought that he had all this money. I was shocked that when she said that, oh, she's the breadwinner in the family. Obviously those hats that she was selling last season, obviously they made a good profit. But I don't know how I feel about that. I guess it all depends on you and your spouse because sometimes the other person may think, well, wait a minute, you think that I'm going into this marriage for your money? Do you not think that we're going to last forever? Do you think that eventually we're going to get a divorce? Like if somebody was coming up to me asking for a prenup, I'll be offended. I'll be like, wow, you really think that I'm going into this marriage for your money? First of all, you're right. But second of all, how dare you accuse me of that? So I guess it all depends on you. But regardless, Robin, she tells Charisse, well, speaking of divorce and marriages that are not going to happen, let's talk about Ashley. So supposedly she's getting a divorce from Michael Darby. Charisse, I was with her. She was like, I don't really believe it. I don't really buy it. And yet, until I see it on an official document or officially that I see that Michael and Ashley have split and they don't live together anymore, then I'll believe it. Until then, I'm going to continue side-eyeing this Ashley. We head over to Mia, and her husband, Gordon, aka G, have bought themselves a new house. This house is beautiful. It is huge. It looks so nice from the outside. The inside looks so nice and spacious. And it's $10,000 a month, which I thought, okay, it's pretty reasonable, right? For this big ass house, I thought it's worth every penny. So she also goes on to tell us, well, I'm so excited to be living in Potomac. I'm so excited to be living next to Karen Huger. She's like my new best friend. And I think that this house is just so nice and it's worth every single penny. And I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean that you just moved to Potomac? So what are we doing? Are we promoting a false show now? This is called The Real Housewives of Potomac, not The Real Housewives I live 2 states down the street around the corner. she goes on to tell us that her relationship with her mom, it's still a little rocky. It's still here and there because we all remember last season, it wasn't in the best, position, but now it's still in the same, regard, but it's still getting better. Her mom, she tells her, so wait, what's going on with you and the doctor? Like, did you go get checked out? She's talking about the cancer. Mia, she goes on to tell her, well, I went to go check it out and everything, but I think everything is getting better, but I'm not sure yet. And she also goes on to tell us that she found a couple of lumps, I believe, in her body that she doesn't know what it is, but it's a little suspicious, so she's trying to check it out so that way they could remove anything or at least get ahead of any issue. And again, this is what makes me believe, like, maybe she's not lying about this cancer thing. Yeah, it may look thirsty or like needy or whatever she posted on Instagram, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just like, I feel like, yeah, the housewives, they lie all the time, right? Like, all these housewives are delusional at some point or another, but it's just like, why would she play around with cancer? Then again, it has been done on the Real Housewives of Orange County before, hasn't it? So, but I do hope the best for Mia, and I hope that everything comes out good in the end. She is one of my new favorite additions to the show, by the way. Like, I love Mia. I think she was a perfect addition last season. I know a lot of people don't see it for her, but I personally love her. She's one of my favorites. So then Karen, she comes on over with Ray, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting because obviously we see, supposedly the rumors is that Karen and Mia, they get into it at some point later on this season and they're no longer friends. So again, it's so interesting seeing the dynamics now. And on top of that, we see a flashback of Jacqueline, the other new friend of the show. She's also Mia's best friend. But as of now, they're fighting online. Like, they're throwing shots at each other on Twitter or Instagram, I believe. And I'm like, what happened? What's going on? But so Mia is noticing Karen's new breasts. Karen, she admits to us that she got a breast lift and she calls them Tiff and Fee. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting because Wendy, her breasts were called Happy and Nis. I wonder if they have play dates. But Karen, she's like, yeah, I personally love my new breasts, but Ray, he's a little jealous because he feels like other people are looking at them. And I'm like, well, it is what it is. Mia, she's looking at them and she's like, oh my God, I like totally love those boobs. They're so nice. Can I squeeze them? Squeeze, squeeze. Ah, they're so nice. So cute. I love that. Wow. So how much were they? Anyway, let's go into my kitchen. Let's eat something. So they go into the kitchen. She introduces her to the family and everything. Karen, she gets down to the nitty gritty and she's like, so let's talk about everything that's been going on online with your cancer thing situation. She's like, what's been going on? Mia, she explains it to her and she's like, well, I'm just going through a lot right now. And it's just like, it is what it is. I'm putting it out there on Instagram because my best friend, Jacqueline, she told me that maybe I should put awareness to this. Maybe this is my life and I need to share with people and the public. I have an audience now and I have fans. Karen, she doesn't say anything about what Giselle was saying at the beginning. She was like, oh, you'll find out later on at the party. But Karen was just like, oh, it's interesting, but you should be more aware because some people are going to question this. Some people are going to question it. I said some people, Giselle, is going to question it. Mia, she doesn't care, and I think that she genuinely doesn't care. Like, if she's looked at as thirsty, she's like, well, I don't really care if whatever people think of me. If you think that I'm thirsty, I don't really care. It is what it is. Next thing you know, we see Wendy heading over to this bar 1 to be exact, and I'm like, wait a minute. I know that bar, and I know who the owner of it is. So Wendy, she goes inside. There's this man waiting for her at the table, and I'm like, wait a minute. I know that's not who I think it is. Is that? And I look a little closer and I'm like, it is Peter Centerpeach Thomas. And I'm like, what is he doing on the show? Peter, what did Nene say? You need to stop acting like a damn bitch. All these years later and you haven't learned, but he's there. Wendy's meeting up with him and I'm like, what is going on here? I thought that he was going to be introduced through Giselle or something, but it's through Wendy. And I'm like, Wendy, what are you doing? You have all these degrees and you're not smart enough to think to run the other way. But I'm looking at Peter and I'm like, okay, fine. I guess it's nostalgic to see him. I'll give him that. So they're there. Wendy, she approaches him because she wants to open up a restaurant or a lounge specifically in Baltimore. And she wants to make it like for children. And I'm like, a lounge for children? And she wants to, she wants a section to be where children, they're able to read books and everything. And people are able to read books to them. But at the same time, a lounge, like a bar. And I'm like, just imagine that. Just imagine like from 1 to 2. It's like, oh, it's happy hour for children. They get to read books and take nappy time and, drink milk and everything. And then from 3 to 5, it's like, oh, it's ass and titties over there. And drinks and shots and tequila. Like, no, Wendy, I get it. I get what she was trying to go for in a way. If you squint your eyes just right, you could kind of see her vision. But no. So Peter is just like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's just not gonna happen. You can't mix both like that. People are not trying to get, wasted and get drunk and everything, and at the same time have children around. Like, it just doesn't work. If anything, that's a liability. So then Wendy's just like, well, I really want to open up this bar. Like, should we do something together? Peter, and again, Peter, out of all people, to ask him for business advice, allegedly, from what I read online on him, he's not really the best person to run any type of restaurant or anything. We've seen it with Cynthia on the Housewives of Atlanta. We see what he does with the money. So it's like, what are you doing, Wendy? And then Peter, he goes on to say, well, I mean, I know this spot. I know a spot. And I'm like, isn't that how typical conversation usually goes? Like, oh, I know a spot. Next thing you know, you end up crying and everything. But that's neither here nor there. I don't need to share my trauma. But he goes on to tell her, I know this spot, they've been offering it to me and stuff, but we have to give up $1 million. And that right there, I would have been like, okay, well, Peter, it was nice knowing you. I'll say hi to Cynthia for you. I'll see you. Let me leave. The second that he was asking for $1 million, like, no, Wendy, again, she's like, really? Okay, $1 million. Okay, that's it. So how much would I own in this partnership? This is the other red flag of many red flags in this conversation, because Peter, he goes on to say, well, you'll own 20 out of 100%. I will own the rest and you will own 20%. And I'm like, what kind of deal is that? Wendy, she was just like, that sounds good. I'm like, Wendy, no, just go back to selling candles, because by the end of this whole situation that you're done with Peter, he's going to take all 5 of your degrees, your champagne flute, your candles, and what else? He's going to take everything. So again, what are you doing? Again, run. But Peter, he goes on to say, yeah, I mean, also the other red flag. He's like, also expect that within the first 2 years, we're not going to see any type of profit. Again, I don't know anything about the industry or the lounge or the industry, the lounge industry or the restaurant industry or the club industry. None of that, right? But I'm pretty sure, I don't think that that's how it works. But Wendy, she was like, well, I am a very busy person. And I don't think my husband, Eddie, if I were to go up to him, I don't think he'll be that lenient of me asking him for $1 million or that amount of money. I'm pretty sure that this is how the conversation would go. Eddie, he's right there in the living room, right? Wendy, she'll be like, hey, babe, how are you? How are you? I was thinking, maybe we should invest on a bar or whatever, and I have an investor. He just needs $1 million, but trust me, he's trustworthy. Eddie, he's going to be like, okay, babe, I understand. Maybe it sounds like a good idea. I'm open to it. Who's this investor? Wendy's going to be like, it's Peter. He's going to be like, no. The second she's like, no. You don't even need to finish your sentence. But again, Wendy, she's open to that idea, and Peter, I guess he's open to it. And Cynthia is somewhere, in California, in bed with Mike Chill. And she's probably like in bed looking at this episode like, yep, I've been down this road before. Then we see Ashley with baby Dylan and baby Dean heading over to her mom's house. And is it just me, or every time she goes to meet with her mom and her uncle, they always look disappointed in her? They always look at her like, what new bullshit is she about to bring to the table now? Like, they always look so stressed. But they go in there, and Dean, he is so cute. Baby Dylan is so cute. Dean is growing up before our eyes. Like, it is crazy to me. Like, if she stays on the show long enough, like, imagine when we see him turn 13 or something. Like, that's going to be crazy. But they're there at the kitchen table. She announces to them that she's going to get a divorce from Michael. They're both like, yay. So what are we going to get out of this? Again, they're just not here. They're just never here for Ashley's BS. The uncle, he's telling Ashley, so wait, what's going on with that? Like, are you going to get any money out of that? Ashley, I don't know. I mean, I may not buy into the whole divorce situation, but she's not stupid. She knows exactly what she was doing by getting pregnant twice and waiting the 5 years, because I believe the deal was if she waits for 5 years in this marriage and then she divorces, then she'll get half of everything that Michael belongs, half of what Michael has. Damn it. So that was the deal. And now, she's obviously executing the situation correctly. And I'm like, okay, get your money. She doesn't know what to do, though. She still needs to hire a lawyer and everything. The uncle, he just wants to know how much money he's getting. He's like, look, I mean, you have caused me and your mother stress for all these years that you've been on the show. So how much are we going to get? What's our cut? And then on top of that, the mom, Sheila and her Bob, she asked Ashley, so wait, are you gonna be moving out the house? Like whose name is gonna be underneath the house? Ashley's like, well, I mean, the funny thing is that me and Michael are both looking for a house together and we're gonna put it underneath the LLC. The uncle probably forgot that he was on camera because he was like, Ashley, what the fuck are you doing with your life? What are you doing? Is this a divorce or what is this? You're like, you're a fucking clown. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, damn, if I was Ashley, I would have been like, well, okay, baby Dean, let's go because obviously I'm being disrespected. But I mean, he makes valid points because it does sound messy. I mean, is it the traditional way of going about a divorce? No, but I mean, maybe Ashley could go about it differently, I guess. What do y'all think? If y'all were going through a divorce or a breakup, would you still stay with the person or try to, look for a house? He did make a valid point though, when he was like, don't ever let somebody who has money try to control your strings or anything. And I always say this in my videos that sometimes that is a power dynamic in the relationship or in the marriage that, the wife, they're like, oh, well, you know what? I don't really have too many choices or options or whatever. So you know what? Let him decide everything because he has all the money. Maybe I should stay with him. Maybe I should take all this, disrespect and cheating and lying and everything behind my back. Maybe I should just turn the other way because he has all the money and maybe it's worth it. And it's just like, no, Ashley, get all his money and then leave his ass. We head over to Giselle's house, or at least what looks like a house, because I'm looking at the house and Giselle, she's telling us that, the house is done because last season it was underneath construction, but now it's all done. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know, it just looks like a pile of Legos. Put together. Like, it looks like different pieces to different houses. And it looks like somebody just connected all of them. Like, okay, let me take this part, let me put it here, let me put it here, let me put this, and boom, it's a house. Like, it's a build your own house. But from the inside, the house looks beautiful. From the outside, it looks a little questionable. You don't know what you're walking into. Giselle, she's in her room. She's picking out her outfit for Karen's event that she's having, her spring party. And then Angel and Adore, her daughters, they come in. And I'm like, okay, let's see what happens here. They come in and they're so pretty. They sit down. Giselle is just like, okay, so I'm ready to, to pick out an outfit or whatever. How about these? I got these 3 options. And I'm looking at the options and I'm like, oh, Giselle, she's so cute because I feel like she genuinely looks at the outfits and she's like, oh, this is going to be it. This is going to be the best outfit at the party. I love that about Giselle. So she's looking at them and the daughters, they're looking at it like, I thought we changed your outfits in the closet already. I thought we upgraded this. What's going on? But Giselle, she's giving them the option. She's like, what do you think about this? And I think one of the daughters was just like, ooh. That, ooh, it took me out. I'm like, so disrespectful. If I was Giselle, I'd be like, you know what? No allowance for a week. But she continues on and she's like, okay, you don't like this option? Okay, what about the next one? They're like, yeah, no, it's giving church. Giselle is like, okay, fine, the next one. So how about this one? They're like, oh, okay, fine, okay, that's reasonable. But the last one was okay. I mean, when I saw her wear it at the party later on, I'm like, okay, it looks all right. It looks cute. But her daughters, they will never see it for Giselle and her fashions. And I feel like they should get champagne flutes when they turn 21 so they can have this huge storyline against their mom and take her down possibly. We finally get to Karen's Spring It Forward party and she has everything set up. She has her friend Vivian, which I wasn't sure if she's also going to be a friend of the show because they were lingering the camera on her for a while, but she's there. She's setting everything up. Giselle, she shows up in her outfit that her daughters were just questioning a second ago. She shows up looking like a couch. I'm like, I mean, I guess if that's the best that she could do, but she shows up there, her and Karen are talking and everything. Giselle, she gets right to it. She's like, oh, this is so nice. Such a nice party. Wow. It's raining outside. So let's talk about Ashley. I'm like, damn, Giselle, like, relax. She's like, yeah, with Ashley, I don't know what's going on with her. Like, I'm not sure if she's divorcing or if she's not. I feel like she's lying and she's lying to my face. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know why she's taking it so personally, but speaking of Ashley, she shows up next. And Ashley, she, again, like I said earlier, she's in her good girl gone bad era because she looks so good in this outfit. I love the hairstyling that she had in. She comes over and Giselle is like, so, I mean, are you going to be divorcing Michael or are you not? Ashley's like, I mean, I'm separating from him. And they're like, but are you divorcing? She's like, I'm separating. And again, that's what makes me a little fishy about this whole situation. And like Giselle and Karen said, Ashley's not stupid. She knows exactly what she's doing when she comes to Michael, because I feel like she is just trying to get a house, or she's trying to like get money out of him. Or maybe she's like, well, okay, if you give me everything I want or whatever in exchange, I'll rip up this divorce, but I could live in my own house and you could live in that condo up in the sky and we could leave it at that and be mutual. But I'm not sure what her end game is if she's not going to be, divorcing him officially, because she's like beating around the bush. And yeah, she may not I know all the answers to these questions now because this is kind of something that she just came up with now. But Giselle starts grilling Ashley and she's like, look, Ashley, I'm confused as to why you're buying a house with somebody that you're eventually going to get a divorce from. I'm not understanding the logic. Me and Jamal Bryant, we got a divorce and you don't see us buying a house together. You don't see Robin and Juan buying a house together. And that's where Giselle's producing went completely left because she accidentally let that slip out her mouth. I'm like, wait a minute, come again? And you could tell that she messed up because she was like, right now. Right, I'm talking about right now. And you see Karen on the side. You could tell that she was like, oh, Giselle, you said too much. Because Karen was just like, ooh. I'm like, wow, Giselle, you know, Robin, she's probably at home watching this episode like, what the fuck? But regardless, they continue asking Ashley. Ashley's like, well, I confide in you the most. Giselle was like, I feel very hurt. You lied to me, Ashley. You lied to me about this whole situation. And I'm like, Giselle, again, you're being a little bit too dramatic about it. Like, I get it. Both of you are like besties, but like, relax. So Ashley, next thing you know, Ashley, I'm going to try to say it without, you know, Ashley says, you know, there are some times that I question this divorce and if that's what I want to do, because just the other day I woke up with I could be strong. I woke up with a coochie. She woke up with a coochie craving for Michael Darby. And I just could not fathom what she had just said. I'm like, Ashley, you woke up with a what? For who? For Michael Darby? Absolutely not. Like, no. I know love is blind, but absolutely not. Like, the only thing that Michael has that could make me come is his money. And even then, that's questionable. But all right, Ashley, I mean, I guess we all have cravings, right? I mean, you know, whatever. I guess love is love, I suppose. But luckily, Candace comes in and I'm like, whew, thank goodness, because I don't know what else she was about to say. But Candace, she comes in. She looks so pretty. She comes in with her husband, Chris. Chris, he looks over it. He's over there texting. And then I believe, who else? Ascala was there. And I'm like, oh, look at her. You know, they still gave her 2 seconds of screen time. And no lines. I'm like, at least she looks beautiful. You know, it would have been nice to have her, Jacqueline, Charisse, and even Katie as friends of the show. I mean, why not? Wendy and her husband Eddie arrive next and she's greeting everybody. And for some reason, she starts looking for Giselle. And I'm like, have you forgotten everything that happened between you and her last season, specifically at the reunion? Now you're looking for her? Why? Meanwhile, Giselle, she's over there at the bar. She's talking to her friend. Wendy, she goes over and she's like, hey, Giselle, how are you? Giselle looks at Wendy and she's like, are you talking to me? Wendy's like, yeah, I'm talking to you. How are you? So Wendy, she leans in for a hug, right? Giselle was just like, eh. She was like, no touching. I'm good. What do you want? Wendy's like, how are you? And I'm like, Wendy, again, what are we doing here? Like, have we forgotten everything that happened last season? So Giselle continues on and she's like, don't get too close. I'm good. I'm fabulous. I'm beautiful. I'm amazing. I'm everything. I'm good. And Wendy's like, oh, okay, that's nice to hear. Giselle is like, okay. Like, Giselle was just not seeing it for Wendy. And rightfully so, because again, Wendy, you had this whole issue with, well, technically Giselle and Robin had this whole issue with you last season. And then you gave the fire back to them. And now all of a sudden you want to pretend like that never happened. And again, I was on team Wendy all last season because Giselle and Robin were a hot ass mess last season. So I'm not understanding what was going on here. Yeah, Giselle may have been a little bit rude, but it's just like, what do you expect? So Wendy's just like, okay. I mean, I don't understand why she just swatted me away like a fly. And I'm like, again, did we just forget last season? But okay, Wendy walked away. Giselle was just like, yeah, that was like the fakest shit ever. So then Mia walks in. Mia, she's greeting everybody. Giselle, she was just like, must destroy friendship with Mia. So she goes over. She's like, oh, Mia, how are you? Oh, I've been dying to talk to you for a minute. How are you? You look so good. Oh, Karen, come over here. Karen, she goes over and Karen was like, oh God, what bullshit is she about to add me into now? So Giselle was just like, you look so good. You look so good. How are you, Mia? Wow. So is this what? And then this is what I'm like, Giselle, no, you did not. Because Giselle, she goes on to tell Mia, wow, so is this what no cancer looks like? And I'm like, Giselle, like what? If I was Mia, I would have mushed Giselle all the way back. I'm like, who are you talking to? Like, you don't go up to people and say that, like, is this what no cancer looks like? Like, what is going on? But she was bold to say that. But Mia was just like, she was kind of caught off guard. She was like, what are you talking about? And Giselle, she goes on and she's like, well, I did see your Instagram post about you possibly having cancer, but then I saw your other post and you don't have cancer. So I'm confused. Do you have cancer? Do you not? Because I don't know. It's kind of looking like you need attention. And as she's talking about, this whole situation with Mia, we see outside somebody's getting out the truck. And I'm like, okay, wait, is this a new housewife? Who's coming out? And it's Robin. I'm like, why do we have this dramatic entrance for Robin? Like, what is she going to add to this scene? So eventually Robin, she shows up and she looks nice. And she's like, so what's going on? What's happening? She's like, oh, well, we're talking about her Instagram post that you and Karen, that you both said that it was kind of strange that she posted that. Karen was just like, no, I never said that. Again, Giselle was trying to drag Karen into this mess. Karen never said that. She said, yeah, it's a little bit odd, but I mean, maybe we need to hear her out first. She never said it in a malicious way like Giselle said, like, yeah, this is weird. She's looking for attention. She's thirsty, blah, blah, blah. She never said any of that. That was all Giselle's doing. But luckily, Karen cleared her name up. But I don't know. I feel like Mia is not going to buy that. Mia is probably going to look at Karen a little bit sideways, especially when you just had her at your house a second ago and everything was cool between both of you. Mia, she gets upset and she's like, I just can't believe that you would think that I would post anything on my Instagram for attention. Like, I would never do that, Giselle. Like, how dare you accuse me of that? I posted that out of the kindness of my heart to show awareness. I can't believe that you would say that. And for you to think that I'm doing that for attention, well, guess what? Fuck you. And Giselle, everybody was gagged. I'm like, well, Giselle, so much for that friendship. And it's crazy because they were just friends last season. And now look, Giselle just has a pattern, Giselle just, but one thing about Giselle, she's going to get the show started. And then we leave it at a to be continued. I'm like, bravo, enough with this bullshit. Like, first of all, you don't give us no taglines. And now you leave us at a to be continued. Don't do this for a couple of episodes. Don't do that. Because I know they have a trend of doing that on the Housewives of New Jersey, but that was the premiere of the Real Housewives of Potomac. I thought it was pretty cute. It was nice and refreshing to see everybody come back. I enjoy seeing everybody come back, and we'll see what happens later on. I'm not sure how this whole friendship between Giselle and Mia is going to go. Eventually, Candace and Giselle fall out, and that's going to be interesting to see. But what did y'all think about this premiere? And let's talk about the confessionals for a quick second. The confessionals, I thought for the most part, everybody's confessional was really, really nice. I love Candace's confessional. Giselle, I know everybody was just, making fun of her and her hair and everything. I personally love the 2000s hair that she had on, like the brown and the light brown. I love that. As for the jacket, that's a little bit questionable. Karen, with her confessional, it wasn't the best. Robin, it wasn't the best. For the most part, I think only Wendy, Mia, Candace, and who else am I missing? Am I missing anybody? And Ashley had the best confessionals. Everybody else, but that was the premiere of the Real Housewives of Potomac. Let me know what you all thought about the first episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.